This is the continued part of alternative building materials, that is module 3. The next topic is about use of industrial waste. So in last video session we have discussed about the agro waste, and now we'll go through the use of industrial waste. In that first one is fly ash. In earlier video session, or in first video session of module 3, I have discussed about fly ash, and also in second video session in lime pozzolanic cements I have discussed in detail about fly ash. So once again we'll go through this in brief. So fly ash is obtained from electrostatic precipitators in thermal power stations, generally contains amorphous silica and alumina. So as we all know that this fly ash is obtained from the electrostatic precipitators in thermal power stations, and generally it contains the amorphous silica and alumina, and these products have the property of combining with the calcium hydroxide at ambient temperature in the presence of moisture. Okay, these products have the property which combines in the combining the calcium hydroxide at an ambient temperature in the presence of moisture, that is pozzolanic properties. So the resulting compounds are similar to what is found in a hydrated Portland cement. So after this, what we get, the material of fly ash is similar to the hydrated Portland cement. Thus fly ash can be used as the pozzolana in lime pozzolanic cements, as I have explained in previous sessions. Addition of gypsum or plaster of Paris in small quantities will accelerate the strength gain in the such cements. So by adding the gypsum or plaster of Paris, it will get the strength in the cements. So blending or integrating of calcium hydroxide, fly ash and gypsum is important if the full strength of the mixture is to be achieved. If you want to achieve the full strength of the mixture, then you have to go through the blending or integrating of calcium hydroxide, fly ash and gypsum. Then you will get the full strength. And next, however, a dry mixture of CaOH2, that is calcium hydroxide, and the fly ash should be used within about 7 days of mixing, since the shelf life of the mixture is low. I have explained this in a previous session, that is we can keep the dry mixture of this fly ash and we can use it afterwards, but after a dry mixture of calcium hydroxide and fly ash can be used within 7 days of mixing, since the shelf life of the mixture will low. That is after 7 days it will lose its strength. So that's why we have to use this dry mixture of calcium hydroxide and fly ash within the 7 days of period. Next, fly ash can also be important ingredient in building blocks. So with the help of fly ash we can produce the building blocks also. Lime, fly ash, gypsum and sand mixtures. The lime, fly ash, gypsum and sand mixture, or cement, fly ash and sand mixtures can be pressed into a blocks for wall construction. We can produce the blocks using lime, fly ash, gypsum and sand, or we can also produce the blocks by mixing the cement, fly ash and sand. Okay, and next, a good quality reactive fly ash will generally consist of silt like fines with the clay size fractions of the order of about 5 to 20%. A good quality reactive fly ash will generally consist of silt like fines with the clay size fractions of 5 to 20%. There are other types of ash known as pond ash or bottom ash, which are generally not very reactive. Such waste can be used as sand replacement for inert fillers in building blocks. They are also ideal for road construction projects. So we can use this pond ash and bottom ash in the replacement of cement, as these are not very reactive, so we can use these as replacement for sand. And next is the blast furnace slag. The slag from the blast furnace has cementitious properties. The Portland blast furnace cement is made by grinding the normal clinker with slag. So this Portland blast furnace cement is made by grinding normal clinker with the slag. This cement has sulfate resisting properties and is ideal for use in aggressive environments. So this blast furnace slag has the sulfate resisting property, so it can be used in aggressive environments. So next is iron ore tailings. Tailings are nothing but the waste that remains after the mineral have been extracted from the ore by ore dressing or all, that is called as tailings. The waste which remains after the minerals have been extracted from the ore, that is what called as iron ore. This iron ore in Kudremukha, you might have heard, the Kudremukha Iron Ore Company of Karnataka has stored iron ore tailings to the tune of 150 million tons. So that is Kudremukha, we can call it in Kannada. That is this iron ore. The Kudremukha Iron Ore Company of Karnataka has stored, you can observe here, has stored the 150 million tons of iron ore tailings. So this waste has sand particles to the extent of 79% and silt particles to the extent of 19%. So this can be an ideal sand substitute for a local construction activity. So you can use this iron ore tailings as the sand substitute, that is in replacement of sand. You can use this iron ore tailings, as this one having the sand particles to the extent of 70% and 79% and silt particles to the extent of 19%. So you can use this as the sand substitute. Next one is gold mine tailings. So gold is often extracted from finely crushed granite. So the waste granite dust after the removal of gold is a fine material with no use. Okay, so it is often predominantly silty in nature and does not have pozzolanic properties. This gold mine tailing, which is the granite dust after the removal of gold, what you get is often predominantly silty in nature. Normally it is silty in nature and does not have the pozzolanic properties. The Kolar gold fields of Karnataka have 35 million tons of such waste. So it can be ideally used for building blocks after mixing with the cement and sand. So you can use this granite dust after the removal of gold. You can use this for producing the building blocks after mixing with the cement and sand. You can mix this with the cement and sand and you can produce the building blocks. And next, granite and marble polishing fines. These are silt like fines obtained during the polishing of granite and marble slabs. So these are the silt like fines which are obtained during the polishing granite and marble slabs. They also contains clay size fractions in the range of 10 to 20%. They also contain the clay fractions in about 10 to 20%. These can be used for making fine concrete blocks, mixing 20% fines with 80% sand. So you can use this granite and marble polishing fine with the to produce the fine concrete blocks with the mixing of 20% fines with 80% sand and then stabilizing the mixture with 6 to 7% cement. So these blocks, the blocks have to be made by compaction rather than the vibration due to presence of fine. So due to presence of fine particle in this, so you have to go through the compaction rather than the vibration. Blocks of strength approaching the 10 Newton per mm square can be easily made. So by using this material, you can produce the blocks or manufacture the blocks of having the strength 10 MPa, that is 10 Newton per mm square. So marble dust can also be used for lime and hydraulic lime manufacture. So these marble dust can also be used for lime and hydraulic lime manufacture. The marble dust may be converted to ball like aggregates by mixing boiled starch. Such aggregates can then be burnt in a lime kiln to produce the quicklime. So you can produce the quicklime with the help of marble dust, like that marble dust may be converted into ball like aggregates and by mixing the boiled starch, and then those aggregates can then be burnt in a lime kiln to produce the quicklime. Okay, and next, if the marble dust is mixed with the clay, then made into a balls, then the balls can be used to make a hydraulic lime. And then after these balls, that is which are mixed with the clay, the marble dust which is mixed with the clay, then made into a balls, and with the help of those balls can be used to make a hydraulic lime. Okay, if the marble dust is mixed with the boiled starch, you can make the quicklime. And next, if that marble dust mixed with the clay, then you can make the hydraulic lime. Next is demolished building waste. So from building demolition, you can get many materials which are waste material, we can recycle it. So demolished buildings are major source of land pollution in large cities. Yes, because in large cities there are number of multi-story building which tend to pollution. So the most of these waste can be recycled into a building materials. Sieving out fine material below 2 mm can provide the sand for plasters and mortars. So sieving at the fine materials below 2 mm can provide the sand for the plastering and mortars. So this may not be suitable for strong concrete. Okay, this may not be suitable for, as this is the waste material, you can use this only for the normal structures, not for the strong concrete. Brick bats, broken concrete, etc. can be used as the aggregates for low strength concrete applications like foundation concrete, flooring concrete, etc. The brick bats, broken concrete pieces, so or etc. broken stone pieces, these all can be used as the aggregates for the low strength concrete, like low strength concrete application, like foundation concrete and flooring concrete. So once go through the Google, look all the fibers and the waste materials of from industry or from agro. Just go through once, see the videos. Okay, thank you.